It's Fox 40 Live.
It is 9:29. In case you missed them at the top of the hour, here are some of the top stories we're covering this morning. On the top, the National Weather Service confirmed one tornado touched down 5 miles from the Yuba City, Marysville area yesterday. There were tornado warnings from Yolo County to Sutter County, and the Sierra even got a fresh layer of snow. Sean Bennett is in Blue Canyon. We'll hear from Sean in about 3 minutes. In the middle, Massachusetts is the latest state cleaning up from a tornado outbreak. At least 4 people were killed when tornadoes hit the western part of the state last night. And on the bottom, the story everybody is talking about this morning: justice for J.C. Dugard. Philip and Nancy Garrido are being sentenced as we speak, and that's where we find Alyssa Harrington this morning. She is at the courthouse. Alyssa, do we know anything yet?
Yeah, well, we're live here at the El Dorado County Courthouse, where inside J.C. Dugard's mom is expected to read a statement from J.C. to the court. Now, here outside where we are, you can see a lot of media have come out. This is the area where they're going to be doing interviews. You can see a lot of people set up. And then just across the street, there's another media area. You can't cross that tape that they have out. Then if we pan over here to the parking lot, you can also see it's completely packed. People even parking all the way up the street where people are directing them to a separate parking lot. So this case, of course, has gotten a ton of media attention. And today it all comes to a close with the sentencing of Philip and Nancy Garrido, both charged with kidnapping and sexual assault of J.C. Lee Dugard. J.C. was kidnapped back in 1991 when she was just 11 years old and then held captive for 18 years in some backyard tents at the Garrido's home in Antioch. And it was just in the summer of 2009 when she was finally discovered. A UC Berkeley police officer noticed Philip Garrido on campus with 2 young girls who turned out to be his daughters that he had with JC. They took him in for questioning and then contacted his parole officer. When he met with that parole officer, he brought JC and she revealed herself. Now, since then, there's been court hearing after court hearing, and now it all comes down to the sentencing. This thing never actually went to trial, so now it all comes down to the sentencing. Philip Garrido faces 431 years to life. Nancy, 36 years to life. Now, one more thing before we go. After this all happens, there's going to be some arguments from an attorney representing some members of media to get some transcripts that are supposed to be sealed. Oh, and actually, if we could come back live, you can see there is Nancy Garrido's attorney. So it looks like things are starting to wrap up here. But what I was going to talk about is that there is going to be an argument to get some of these transcripts unsealed that are supposed to be kept sealed because this thing never did go to trial. But as Nancy Garrido's attorney walks a little bit towards us, we're going to kind of get set up here. I'm going to go ahead and put the microphone here in the media area and make sure that we get any sound that he has to give us.
Okay, so as we see, we're waiting for the attorney to make his way over to the stand right now, and this is Nancy Garrido's attorney, and hopefully we're going to hear from JC's family this morning as well. So let's just have a listen in.
I know.
As you can see, everybody's hustling, trying to get their microphones up there, trying to capture all this sound that they can.
Go closer to the podium, sir. Thank you.
All right, what do you guys want to know?
What can you tell us about this morning, sir?
Pardon me?
What can you tell us about this morning?
Tell us what happened.
Sir?
Nancy Garrido was just sentenced to 36 years to life. It was a victim impact statement, several of them read by JC's mom and her aunt. One of the impact statements was from JC. The rumor was she was going to be here and then not be here, but she's not here.
Hey, Steve Thompson is talking right now. I don't know if you guys want to.
Can you tell us what they said in their impact statement?
Okay.
Basically, they accused both of them of being evil and terrible people and laced into them pretty well. But we expected that, obviously.
Mr. Thompson, what was the reaction from Nancy and from Philip when
Tears.
those statements were read?
I didn't see him. He was behind me, but Nancy was in tears.
This was expected, though. It's not a surprise.
No, it was certainly expected.
Is J.C. Dugard inside the courtroom?
No.
Who from her family is inside? Just the mother and the aunt?
Mother and the aunt, but they whisked them out. They may have left the building already. Don't know.
Were you surprised, sir, that J.C. wasn't here herself?
I was. At first, the gossip started that she was not going to be here, then she was going to be here, and then she didn't. I don't know when the final decision was made.
Did Philip or Nancy have any kind of reaction to what Mom and Aunt had to say?
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't see Philip because he was behind me. My client was in tears.
When is the judge going to consider the testimony and whether or not that's going to be unsealed?
11 o'clock.
And what's your stance on that?
Well, you guys don't have a right to know Jack Diddley squat. Go.
What were the Dugard statements?
Your people are evil, terrible, lousy, miserable, and a big long list of other words, which I can understand that, and we expected that.
Sir, you say that we're not entitled to know that stuff, but isn't, as a part of any settled case, records become public?
If the court finds sufficient reason, mainly because of damage to the victim, then in fact the court can keep the record sealed. It was done in Michael Jackson's case. Those records were never, transcripts were never released, so there's precedent for it, and I hope the judge follows it. My client doesn't want those kids, JC and her kids, to be forever reminded of what happened during that 18-year period.
Well, certainly JC's book is going to change all of that.
Obviously, that's an argument, sir. You're going to, and your lawyer will, I'm sure, at 11 o'clock make that. But the question is, why do you want it? It's degradation of an 11-year-old girl? What good is that? If somebody wants to read that, then that reader's a sick person.
Stephen, I wasn't inside there. Can you reiterate if any member of the Dugard family was personally in there, or was it something read on behalf of the Dugard family?
JC's mom and her sister were the only two live people. They read statements from JC and JC's sister.
Did Philip or Nancy speak today at all?
Pardon me?
Did Philip or Nancy speak today?
I spoke briefly on behalf of Nancy, giving an apology, which is, as she said, the words are not enough, and what I did is evil. And every time I look in the mirror, it reminds me of how evil I was.
So
Is
how
she
was Nancy
content with
feeling
her
today
sentence?
before you all went inside? What did she talk to you about? How was she feeling going in there?
She wanted to remain for Philip's sentencing, and also I made a request for them to see each other for the final time. They'll never see each other again, and the judge denied that, and he also denied her request to remain for Philip's sentencing, which is going on right now.
Which prisons are they going to be sent to?
She'll go to Chowchilla. He will, I believe, go to DVI for processing, and then probably sent to Susanville would be my guess.
Is Nancy content with that sentence?
Pardon me?
Is Nancy content with the sentence?
She is. She accepted it. I wanted to go to trial. She didn't want to go to trial, so we took the deal.
How do you think this would have ended differently had you gone to trial?
Well, hopefully she would have been found to be not guilty based on the fact that she was under the thumb of Mr. Garrido and Stockholm Syndrome, all that stuff. So I was ready to pursue that, but she said from the get-go, I got to tell you, I don't want to go to trial. I do not want to put JC and those kids through that. That was the first time I ever saw her.
Did the Dugard family actually use the words evil?
Yes.
So, Mr. Tapson, what are your general feelings today about the culmination of this case? I mean, a year and a half or more of court proceedings. Did it culminate in the way you anticipated when you first took it on?
I wanted it to culminate with a not guilty verdict, as most defense lawyers do, but she's satisfied. I'm satisfied. The main thing I'm happy about is I won't see you guys again, ever, hopefully.
Stephen, what was Nancy's demeanor when the statements were read to her about the Dugard family? Did they make eye contact with
Yes.
Nancy? Can you tell us Nancy's...
She had her head down and was sobbing, as you'll see on the...
Do you think she's sincerely remorseful for her
Yes, I
actions?
do. And I'm firm in that conviction.
What is that?
I'm firm in my conviction that she is genuinely remorseful. I've represented hundreds of evil people, and in my view, she wants to take it all back and not have it ever have happened at all, and is genuine in that.
So can you reiterate what you said on her behalf in there?
Every time I look in the mirror, I don't like what I see. I stole your life, JC. And I can give you explanations, but they sound like excuses, and there is no excuse for what I did. I did an evil thing, and there are no words that I can express can ever account for that. Words to that effect.
She told you exactly to say that?
Yes.
Has she or will she try to reach out, even in a letter, to J.C. Dugard in the future?
The mother, reading J.C.'s statement, indicated that they're never going to see her again, or them.
Tell us a little bit more about that statement. Like, what exactly was said besides the evil part? Like, you said that she indicated that they were.
I said, you got it on tape, and I don't want to.
We don't have it on tape because we can't hear what's in the courtroom.
I know, but he will in a few moments.
We're not allowed to
Is
play
it possible that she can get out of jail?
Possible, slim to none.
When would that even be?
20 years, I'd guess, earliest. She's 55 now.
Did she tell you how she thought of JC during those almost 20 years?
She loved her. She delivered the kids. They were a family. As bizarre as it sounds, that's true. She loved them, was a mother to them. For years, they were in a business together. JC was out amongst the public. So, I mean, it was a family that nobody could really understand.
And what was the Dugard's demeanor when they were reading these statements? Were they crying? Were they angry?
Angry and crying. All right, guys, we'll see you later.
Thank you, Mr. Tapson.
Again, we're listening to Stephen Tapson. That's Nancy Garrido's attorney. We're going to take a break. We will be right back.